What's up, everybody? Welcome to Biomastery Raw TV. So, I want to talk about something today that I think we should talk about, because I think there's a lot of people out there and kind of fix his fucking camera angles first, make sure that shit is square. But I think there's a lot of people out there that are kind of going through this, and judging by like the messages that I've gotten, and some people make fun of me and stuff for it, which I get. I completely understand it. Like that's part of what comes with it, and that is I've dropped a lot more size lately, muscle size. Now, some of that was, all of it was by design, but I wouldn't say I necessarily like being the size that I am now. As of now, I'm a pretty soft 189. Actually, let me redact that. Hang on. So I'm back up to 198. Okay, within 2 weeks, but I got down to 198. And in some of the videos and stuff I was making, people were like, "Man, you're really losing a lot of size. Are you still training?" I was doing like the rubber band stuff. I was doing my cardio, but I knew when this lockdown hit, I knew that I had one of two choices to make. I could either try to maintain what I was doing before, which put me about 205, and have the size that I did before, but I knew that muscle-wise I'm not going to be able to keep up with it. I don't have the training available to me to keep up with it. So as I try to keep pushing it, my muscle mass is going to come down. If I try to keep my weight stable, the muscle comes down and the fat goes up. I'm going to have a totally different physique at the end of this in a really bad way. But at the end of it, I'll have to build the muscle back again and then diet the fat off afterwards, right? So I'm like, that's twice as much work as if I just literally lost the muscle, stayed lean, and then I will go back up muscle-wise, but my body fat was already lower. So I kind of took a page out of Victor Martinez's book. And when he had actually come back, I believe it was from the Arnold Spain, or I forget which Arnold it was. He was coming back to America and his visa had expired. And they held him for like 6 months in jail. And when he got out, he was small. And everybody was like, "Damn, what happened to you?" And he said, "Well, it was either, lose muscle and get fat as shit and have twice the amount of work after I get out, or let the muscle come off, stay as lean as I can, build the muscle back, and then I don't really have to diet to get it off." It's like half the work, and it's more fun, obviously, building muscle than it is dropping fat. Dropping fat sucks. So why would I want to come back, just like Victor, and be like, "I got to put this muscle back on, and I already look like shit, but my weight's the same." Then you come back, you start training. Let's say I maintain 205 in the quarantine. I would go up to like 230, 235, and then have to diet 25 pounds of fat off to get back down to where I was at 205. Now you're looking at like, I don't know how many months, right? Well, we've been out for 3 months. So let's just say it would take 3 months to get back, right? And that was my decision. I said, you know what? I'm just going to drop the size. So I actually went on a very strict keto diet. So I've been doing intermittent fasting since before this started. So right before it started, a few weeks before I went to Mexico, I started doing intermittent fasting just to try it for a longer period of time than I've done it in the past. So I stayed in that. Now, you guys saw my weight drop to like 190, 195, 196 just from doing intermittent fasting. I didn't change any macros, didn't add any cardio. It just changed from intermittent fasting. I was like, well, damn, my body responds crazy to that. So I was doing it, and when the quarantine hit, I was doing intermittent fasting, and I said, you know what? We're going to go on a straight keto diet just like I would for contest prep. And I'm going to eat keto for however long it takes until I'm getting ready to go back in the gym. Then I can add the carbs back. Now, just like with a contest prep, once I started keto, my weight started doing this again. When I start trying to lose weight, it happens fast. I can do it rapidly. That's just a genetic component of my genetics. That's just all there is to it. It's not about I'm working harder than anyone else. It's not that I'm dieting harder than anyone else. That's just my genetics. Not many people can have this pretty much the same physique at 44 that they do when they're 19. I do. It's very much genetic. Like, as long as I'm eating a certain way that is not too crazy, meaning I'm not dieting, but I'm not stuffing myself, and I'm training with weights, which I'm not training too heavy, but I'm not doing rubber bands, my body just maintains what it does naturally, which is a good thing. However, if you're in the situation that we're in now, the muscle comes off really fast. So it's okay, this is what we're going to do. So I went on the keto diet. The muscle, I watched the scale drop. I got down to 189, and when I got down there, I felt awful. I mean, awful. I felt weak. I felt lethargic. I could feel the muscle coming off my body. Like, it's metabolically active tissue. Like, you could feel yourself getting weaker, right? And I'll tell you, the only thing that really I had to grasp onto is I have friends that have gone through this, and some of those friends you guys know. We have Jay Cutler, we have Kevin Levrone. Now, Jay Cutler's still 250 pounds, but if you put a picture of him now compared to where he was before, he's dropped a lot of size. He feels a lot better. I mean, Kevin's the same way. When he's done competing, he just drops the size. He feels better. Sean Ray's another person. He drops the size. He feels better. So I have these people around me that have gone through the whole muscle loss and been okay with it, right? So then you start to talk to them about this stuff and ask them questions, and they go, yeah, well, I feel better, and it's better for my health, and I'm not competing anymore. And then they say stuff. Sean says it, Jay says it, Kevin says it. I didn't like being big anyways. And I go, what? And I start asking questions. What do you mean? None of them wanted to be big. They just wanted to win. They wanted to be a bodybuilder and win, and that meant they had to be bigger. So when this whole competition thing was over for them, they dropped the muscle without even worrying about it, right? And I'm like, that's awesome to have that mindset, because most of us get so wrapped up ego-wise that we can't let go. We got people that kill themselves that are not competing anymore because they need to keep pushing the drugs because they feel like they need to be huge for the rest of their life, or else they're not themselves. Like their egos won't just won't let them get out of it. So I thought to myself, this is going to be a really good exercise for my ego, this quarantine. I'm going to have to drop the muscle, and I have a choice. I can either keep my weight stable or drop weight, drop my body weight. And when I was 189 competing, I look completely different than I do now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still fairly lean now, but like being lean for a contest and being the way I am now is two different things. But in my head, I'm like, you're going backwards and you're thinking, man, all this work that I put in for like 30 years, and here I am back down to 189 pounds and I'm still regressing. I mean, it really, really, really is a hard thing to grasp that you're seeing this person in the mirror that's changing daily, that is not the way you want it to change. It's not, you look in the mirror, you don't even recognize yourself. You're like, I don't really know myself anymore. Like, this is not me. And I started to really question, well, fuck, I mean, what am I going to do? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I feel like, I don't even feel like myself anymore. Like, I can feel my body withering away. I can see it and feel it, right? And then the comments come, and that doesn't help. People make fun of you, it doesn't help, right? But I know now, over years of the different type of shit being said to me online, that it doesn't really bother me anymore. But it still makes you stop and look at yourself, right? When people say that, I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, I'm down to 189, right? And I've talked about it, and people miss those videos, so they didn't understand it. So then they pop on and see me, like, what the fuck happened to it? I'm like, what do you mean what happened to me? I haven't been to the gym in fucking 3 months. You know what I mean? I didn't have that home gym. Like Cutler is training in his home gym. You could see him downsizing a little bit because he's training with what he has, right? So I'm like, okay, we're all in this, and of course people are going to want to criticize, they're going to want to say things like that. Everybody's got their 2 cents to put in, right? And then when Jorge called me to go to the gym again, I went. And within that first week, back, I noticed I was just sore from head to toe, right? Just super sore. The second week, which was this last week, we're starting the third week tomorrow. I noticed when I'm standing there, I can feel my lats pushing against my triceps again. I feel you can feel they're not pumped, but they have fullness to them again, right? And I feel like my shoulders are starting to get fullness again, right? And my arms are starting to get fullness, and my legs are starting to get fullness again, just after 2 weeks back, just back training. And I'm like, cool, the fullness is coming back, and all of a sudden my weight goes from 189 to 198 in 2 weeks. When I started training with weights, I had to stop the keto diet and stop the intermittent fasting. My weight was dropping so fast from just going back to the gym that my body couldn't keep up. I'm like, fuck, I need to really I went on keto to make sure I wasn't overeating so I could drop the muscle, in the quarantine. Well, now that I'm back training again, I need to put my macros back to where they need to go. So I upped my protein, I added carbs back in. Next thing you know, I go from 189 to 198 in better condition. So you got almost 10 pounds, 9 pounds in better condition in 2 weeks, which some people would say, oh, it's all muscle. It's glycogen filling out my muscles. And by the way that my strength has come back in 2 weeks, some of the muscle memory is coming back, some of the muscles being rebuilt. But I have to stay on top of that food now. If I don't, my body just stalls because it needs those calories. It needs those macros because I'm back training again. So it was a good experience for my ego to get down to where I would I honestly, my personal opinion is look like I don't even lift, right? At 189, do you even lift, bro? And even though I looked at myself and I said, I don't really recognize myself, I was forced to live like that for a little while. And you actually get used to it. You get used to being this is the new me. Just like if you get bigger, the new you really get used to that. The new me, I'm used to this. And then, of course, comes the comments and the snickers and the sneers and the whispers. And once you get past that and the shock of that's done, now you're just you. So it's this period of time where people ridicule you for doing something different, that most people fail and go back to doing a lot of people oh my God, they're making fun of them skinny, start eating, fucking go back on gear, blow back up because they don't want the shit. But you have to go through that point where people, they try to break you down for doing something different. And once you get past it, that's when you're actually well, I'm okay. You know what I mean? Me and Aaron have been walking all over the place because I'm not too heavy to walk now. Being 240 pounds, walking everywhere, I couldn't do it before. It was hard to fucking breathe. My knees hurt. It was not good for me. Now at 189, we're walking all over the fucking place, taking walks every day. It's a good experience. So it was a good experience to go, hey, at some point, if I decide I don't want to be 200 pounds, which I don't consider big anymore, but it's athletic, right? If I don't want to be 200 pounds anymore, I can drop down 180 pounds. I can even stop training if I want to, and my physique's going to go down to 170, 180 pounds. And that's okay. Like it's okay to be that, right? If that's what I want. Right now, it's not what I want. I got down there and I was like, it's a foreign feeling. It's interesting. I'm okay with it. But I still would rather, I really feel better when I'm in the gym training, right? And I also feel better when I'm training in the gym and I'm progressing. So now I'm progressing again because I'm using muscle memory. And then I feel better when I'm in the gym knowing that what I'm doing is maintaining my physique. Like I'm doing work to maintain my physique. And that amount of work makes me feel good. And I also feel like I look good at this weight. Like I'm happy at this weight. So if I'm ever unhappy at 200 pounds, I can go down to 180. If I'm ever unhappy at 200 pounds, I can go up to 220. But right now I'm just happy at this weight. And it took me going down to 189 rather, to know that I actually felt happy at 200 pounds. So it was actually this push-pull thing that was going on the whole time during the quarantine. And I'm not out of quarantine yet. We're still locked down, but I'm actually training again. So I don't consider myself in quarantine when I'm actually training again. But it was an interesting experiment. It was an interesting time. It was an interesting lesson. I'm glad I went through it. And now I know that, like, you know, there's people that'll be out there that say stuff like, oh, you just have to work out. You just have to use bands. Just do a little bit. Just do what you can. Listen, you can do what you can, which is better than nothing. But it's almost nothing. Let's be real. If I go for a walk 20 minutes 3 times a week, it's better than nothing. Fuck it. Don't even do it. It's nothing. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those people like, no, fuck that. It's basically doing nothing. Because you go walking 3 times a week, then you shove pie in your fucking mouth, and it's not doing shit. You go to the fucking gym, and you fucking train on that treadmill 7 days a week and do 30 minutes, that's something. Your body's going to respond. You're going to see results, right? So stop with the like, I'll just ease into it better than doing. No, fucking do something that does something, okay? Do something that's going to get you somewhere faster than 10 years of walking every other fucking day on a treadmill for 20 minutes or walking outside every other day and stopping every 10 feet to smell the flowers and pet dogs and shit. Like, you're not getting it, guys. Like, there's a big lesson that we could have learned through this whole thing, and that is we can change our bodies if we want to. We can change them any direction if we want to. We just have to be willing to go in there and do the work to do it. Now, how many of us realize that after this, that what we were doing before, that's how we keep our physiques. What you were doing maintains your physique. When you do something different, there's a different result. That's how that works anywhere in life. If you're investing a certain amount of money in the stock market and you invest a different amount, there's going to be a different result. You're either going to lose more money or make more money by investing more money. There's a different result. You're still investing money. You're still using the stock market. But by doing something different, you get a different result. And I think that all of us were forced to do something different now. We get a different result. And I guarantee that people are going to learn a lot from this. And I think that's awesome. They're going to learn enough to apply it to their own training, apply it to other people's trainings if they're trainers. The lockdown made me a better trainer. I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that. I had to interact with my clients in a way that I've never had before because everybody needed to be talked to in a certain way to understand what they were going through. And I was going through it myself. So I was able to talk to them on a level that we were all even going through it together. I don't think that's a bad thing. So those of you that, were worried about me dropping weight, I'm not dying that I know of. It was by design. It is not necessarily what I wanted to do. It was just the best course of action that I thought was for me at the time. I'm back training now and I feel better, but I really have no, plans or wants to ever go back up to over 200 pounds again. I feel okay at 200. I still wear a size XL shirt and they stretch out at 200 pounds. I feel okay. I feel good. And it's not like I have to do a ton to maintain that right now. I just have to go to the gym for about an hour, 4 days a week, make sure I'm hitting my macros, doing my cardio, 3 to 4 days a week, and I can maintain 200 pounds pretty lean. That's pretty much where I want to be at right now. But, I also know there may be things like this in the future. I mean, that come up. Maybe we go on a second lockdown, whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is, I'm actually glad we went through this, that I learned something more about myself. I learned something about other people. I learned something about my clients. I learned something about my wife. I learned something about everybody, my mom, my brothers, everybody. I've learned something from this, and I think I'm taking away from the quarantine. It was a difficult time for everyone, I think. I don't think anyone had an easy time with it. Nobody likes to be told what to do and controlled and thinks it's awesome. But at least there were some positives that came out of it that were learning experiences and things that I think are going to enrich my life and other people's lives later on when this is all done. And any way you slice that is a good thing. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BioStrength.com's blog, and see my bicep's still there, bicep. And we are out.